Welcome to Misrepresented, the podcast that gives a voice to the voiceless. Here we expose the truth behind the headlines, the cases, and the stories that have been twisted, silenced, or ignored. From the courtroom to the court of public opinion, if you have been misrepresented, your story matters, and this platform is for you. Today on Misrepresented, the godfather of country rap, upcoming star on one of the longest running TV shows, and one of my newest team members at Brooks Bell Bonding, and may I add, my near and dear friend of 27 years, Kuntry Twang.
Thanks for having me on here. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on here today. That means so much to me. And I'm so excited that you're going to be telling your story for the first time ever on Misrepresented.
I wouldn't want to do that anywhere else.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Thank you.
Yeah, there's nobody else I'd want to talk to about that.
Man, that's amazing. You know what? As I mentioned, 27 years. We have gone through a lot, we have a lot of history, a lot of conversations, behind the scenes that we don't really talk about, publicly, things that we've been through. For me, I feel like you're really the poster child for extorted and monetized, by the state of Tennessee, you know what I mean? And I think you telling your story will be it will be the catalyst, for a lot of other people coming forward and telling their story as well, because a lot of people are victims of being monetized, especially in family court. So I'm really excited for you to do that. Before we get into that part of it, I just want to kind of unpack some things dating back to your backstory and your childhood. So can you tell us a little bit about, your backstory and where you came from?
Yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and I grew up in the 80s there. I was born in 79. I grew up in a little community in Bowling Green, which is the west side of Bowling Green, called Delafield.
Okay.
So Delafield in the 80s, when I grew up there, was a very volatile part of the city. And it was very poor. It had gotten so bad during the mid 80s that the city started buying up slum houses and turning them into police substations.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and then they started implementing bike cops and things like that. The murder rate got so high there in Delafield at one point during that time that it made national news.
What about that?
So our house was the bootleg trap house.
Wow.
And that's the environment I grew up in. It was what a lot of people would find just absolutely crazy is very normal to me.
Yeah.
My father was dealt the hands he was dealt, and he tried to do the best he could do with what he was dealt. And my mother was the same way. So, and then they had their own demons too. My dad battled with addiction, overcame it, eventually, and did not become a product of his environment in his older years. And, those circles of life from father to son happened to me when I started coming out of my adolescence.
Yeah.
I experienced so much violence and death, and it just made me, God was preparing me. He was preparing me for my purpose in life,
Yeah.
And I didn't become a product of my environment. I learned from those things.
That's amazing.
And I wanted to push forward and be better.
Absolutely. That's amazing. So you grew up in kind of like this bootleg trap house, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of transitioned into like your teenage years, right? Tell me a little bit about that. What were your teenage years like?
Man, when you're a teenager, you don't realize how much freedom you got,
Right.
In those moments, and in my time frame, that was when gangster rap was just like at the epitome of everything,
That was the real music.
That's
that
right.
was the good old day music, right? Yes,
I don't think any music's really been able to kind of touch it,
I don't think so either.
And I think that we're in the industry, we're still trying to recreate that,
Yeah.
But no, I was a Tupac fan. And my music tastes were from one end of the spectrum to the next. My grandfather had a bluegrass band. So, I was listening to Ralph Stanley, Lester Flatt, Conway Twitty, and then Mom and Dad were listening to Leonard Skinner, AC/DC, Pink Floyd, and here I was bumping All Eyes on Me by Tupac.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
What would your playlist have been like back then?
It would have went from Conway Twitty to Tupac.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, and it still is.
15 and like in the car with you,
Yeah.
what the playlist was. It could have been Conway Twitty, a little bit of Leonard Skinner, definitely Tupac and the B.I.G.
Oh, yes, 100%.
3 6 Mafia,
100%.
Bone Thugs and Harmony. God, those were the greatest.
Yes.
A little bit of Master P.
Oh, No Limit for sure. I was, man, what are you talking about? I went back to True.
Oh, yes.
So I was, and what's crazy is I have so many full circle things, but in the industry, I wound up working with Ron Spalding, which Ron Spalding forefronted all of that. And you can look him up, go Google Ron Spalding, you can go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So on those True albums, when I started working with Frank Thomas and Ron Spalding at 13 Skulls, he said, go back and listen to the first album. At the end of it, when they're giving all the shout outs, they shout me out.
Yeah.
So I popped the old CD in and went back, and sure enough, they were like, Ron Spalding. I was like, oh.
My God. I remember you and I talking about that. That's crazy. Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
So that was really like, when we talk about like your teenage years and whatever, I mean, you really found like that passion for music.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Tell me, like, what type of impact did music really have on your life growing up?
Man, it was everything. It molded me.
Okay.
And it was an escape for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it also became a huge lifeline for me. And even in my adult years.
Okay.
So music for me was when I was listening to those songs and I was riding around Bowling Green, Kentucky, I was lost in a lot of ways.
Right.
As a teenager. I hadn't grown spiritually. And I can accredit all of my spiritual growth to my dad's mother and my grandmother's.
Yeah.
And my dad's mother took me to church Wednesday night, Sunday morning, Sunday night, through all of the chaos, through everything that was happening. And that stuck with me. And it saved me. I mean, it saved me.
I grew up in a private Christian school in a Church of Christ. Like, I was very religious growing up. And I've had these conversations. It wasn't really until 2017 when I went through like a really traumatic event. And that was really the catalyst of like a spiritual awakening for me. And so now you have people say like, what's your religion? I would say my religion is love, is God and love and whatever gets you there, right?
Amen.
Like, that should be anybody's religion if that's the catalyst of love and getting closer to God. Growing up, I think, like, for me, it was really like hellfire and brimstone. That was my religion. And so if you would have asked me, even 10 years ago, what's your religion? Southern Baptist, right? 10 years before that, Church of Christ, right? So, but I remember, like, even growing up, like, with you talking about religion, and that was really, like, you were always very, I would say now spiritual, you know what I mean? Back then I was thinking we were having these religious conversations, but now understanding it a little bit better, I think you were very spiritual. And even, I don't know if you remember, like, taking me to get baptized.
I do.
Yeah.
Yes, and those are the things that make my heart happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially now. Seeing how successful you are and how far you've come, and it's very heartwarming and it's very, very fulfilling, and I'm so thankful to God and grateful that we get to do what we get to do.
Absolutely.
And be a part of this. But I remember that. I remember that, and I almost would even consider it a ministry in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to make sure that other kids didn't have to go through what I went through.
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
And then that bled over with my own children.
Yeah.
You know, and how I raised my children.
Right.
You know.
So when you say like you don't want other kids to go through what you've gone through, can you elaborate on that a little bit for me? Like, what do you feel like that you went through that you really just would not want your children to go through?
You know, I just wish that people would have somebody like me. I wish I would have had somebody like me. You know, and I'm not downplaying my parents, okay?
Right.
But my parents struggled a lot. And there were times when my grandparents had to step up or I would have been in foster care. You know, I'd have been straight up into the foster care system 110%, because there were times when mom and dad were in jail. You know, and I'll tell you a quick story, and this will kind of encapsulate all of it. So I wrote a song called Broken Toys. It's a Christmas song.
I heard that, the one you did with Haystack.
Yes, the one I did with Stack. So I wrote that song. It's real. You know, it was a Christmas morning, and we were living on Main Street in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And my mother left in the snow. My dad was in jail. I was 5, I think. And she left me there, and she said, "Son, I'll be right back." And she went down to the Salvation Army, and she got a bag of used toys. And she brought it back to me. And she gave them to me. And when she gave them to me, she started crying. And when you're a kid, you don't understand all this. But I want you to know that those toys, even though they were used and they were broken, they were new to me.
Oh, yeah.
And I was happy. I was so happy.
Absolutely.
And when you talk about not wanting kids to go through things like I did, that's what I mean.
Okay.
You know, and there's so many kids out there like that.
Yeah.
You know, and I have a strong discernment to always want to help with that, and I always want to tell my story as a testimony to help people.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't have to become a product of your environment.
No, 100%.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, you actually control the environment.
Yeah.
You learn that as an adult.
Yeah.
If you're lucky enough and live long enough to do that.
Young, you know, 18, 19, 20, like when they're like, you know, you don't understand what I've been through. No, I don't. I don't understand what you've been through, but here's what I know for sure. You are not a product of your environment, and you have the power within to say, I'm going to break this cycle. I'm going to break this generational curse. I'm not going to be a product of this environment, you know? So yeah, no, I commend you 100% for doing that, for having the courage to say, you know what, this is not where I want to be in life, you know, and I acknowledge that, and I want to do something better, you know, and I want better for my children, you know, for sure.
Yeah.
So, you know, really, I believe, in my opinion, you are, you know, the godfather, as I mentioned, of the country rap world, right? I mean, you really paved the way, you know, for other, what we call country rappers. I mean, what was your motivation and kind of transition into the country rap industry?
Yeah. So thank you. First and foremost, I never asked for those kind of flowers, and
I'm going to give them to you. I'm definitely going to give them to you.
And I'm sure there's other rappers out there like, what? But just go look at the timestamps. They honestly haven't heard your music. There's a timeline out there. So to answer your question, I never called it country rap.
Okay.
I was just a Kentucky boy that took all of those musical influences, the Southern rock, the country, the bluegrass, the gospel, hip hop, rap, and put it all into one. And as a musician, that's what came out. So when I was recording in Franklin, Kentucky, back in the late 90s with all those groups, Nappy Roots, Street Made, all of those people that started the whole movement there, I was the white boy there. You know what I mean? So when I would come into the studio, the way Kuntry Twang came about was I would come in there and I'd freestyle, or I'd be working a record that I was writing or whatever, and they'd be like, "Man, you got that country twang. Man, I love that country twang." So instead of even knowing my name, everybody just started calling me Kuntry Twang.
Oh, well, and that's how you got it.
And that's how it became Kuntry Twang.
Country Twang. And then a star was born.
That's right. So that's how it all came about, you know, and I got to give the credit to all of those other guys too, like Nappy Roots. And I grew up with Big V. You know, Big V lived in Shake Rag. I lived in Delafield, which that all runs together. You know, that's the hoods of Bowling Green. That's West Side Bowling Green. you know, and at that time, in that time frame, we were recording. It was we were the Blue Collar Boys before Twang and Round.
Okay.
So there was the Blue Collar Boys. It was Perfect Confusion. It wasn't Cage the Elephant yet. So it was Perfect Confusion,
okay.
Matt Schultz and all those guys. It was the Blue Collar Boys, Cage the Elephant, and Nappy Roots. We was all recording above the Capitol Arts Center downtown Bowling Green.
Yeah.
And that's when the country rap thing really became something.
Yeah.
You know, when Nappy Roots did All in All, and they was Grammy, you know, nominated, and was on Regis and Kelly, and you know, and Vito was on Yo MTV Raps.
Yeah.
You know, it was larger than life, and it just created this whole thing. And then you know, I've got to give the flowers to Bubba Sparks.
Oh yeah.
And Colt Ford, because I was on the label with those guys at AVJ for almost 3 years. And
that was Average Joe's.
Average Joe's, yeah,
Okay.
yep.
Okay.
That's right. And so that's kind of the trajectory of the music. So
Okay.
that's you know, the Blue Collar Boys disbanded, and then I started a Southern rock band called Minimum Wage.
Okay.
And then we did some shows. You know, we started touring across the country, and we was doing the Starry Nights Festival with Cage the Elephant and stuff like that. And then that fell apart, like all rock bands do.
Right.
You know what I mean? And egos and everything else. And then my partner Round, he was in the Blue Collar Boys, and we had Round's roommate Tommy, which was a close friend of ours, committed.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
And we wrote a song called Outside My Window, and it was about that.
Yeah, I know you've told me a little bit about that.
And it was the first hit like we had had. And this is pre-social media.
Yeah.
This is like when social media was just becoming something.
Yeah.
And this was MySpace. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? This is the days of MySpace and pre. So these prevention places picked it up and started running with it, and then it became a whole campaign, and we went on you know local news and like performed the song, and
so he really had his spirit on it.
Oh my goodness, and let me tell you, they played that song at his funeral, and I had to look at his children, and and we always give Tommy all of the, you know, we give him the credit for that at almost every concert. You know, when we play Outside My Window, even to this day,
Oh, I love that. So then you transition into Twang and Round.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about, you know, your run with Twang and Round and where you are with that today.
Yeah. So we were with Average Joe's for about 3 years, and during that whole time frame, we toured nationally. We put out 3 albums through them. We were on TV, and we were on CMT on Still the King with Billy Ray Cyrus. We did multiple TV appearances. You know, we were working with shows on Discovery and A&E, and it was just very surreal. You know, and this was a time frame when we got the record deal. We wanted CDs in Walmart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We wanted, that was the thing, man. You get your CDs in Walmart.
You made it.
You made it, man.
Made it. If your CD is in Walmart, you made it.
Yes, so we did. You know, I got to go to Walmart and pull my CD off the shelf, and that lasted for less than a year.
Yeah. Okay.
Before social media and streaming took over everything.
Mm-hmm.
So we were some of the first artists to ever transition from physical CD sales into streaming. Okay. Which every artist out here is going to relate to this. You starved. Yeah. You starved bad.
For sure.
You know, you starved bad because I mean, Lars Ulrich was on TV cussing out Napster. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And there's a reason why he was doing that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because they were losing money. And it just, you know, I was blessed enough to be in it long enough and have enough accolades to create a residual income out of it through the streaming. Okay. And every year we get better with that. Yeah. Legislation gets better with that. Yeah. You know, you see it. It was just recently in the national news where we're going to give you more money. Right. We're going to give you more money. Well, you should. You made $90 billion. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you should be a little bit more generous. Yeah.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you didn't even pay a bunch of artists. Right. You know? So, So we were some of the first to ever do that and go through that. And I was blessed too when I left Bowling Green and got away from the environment and pursued the Lord and started growing spiritually with my relationship with God. And that's when we met. Mm-hmm. You know, my first wife, I got married and started, having my first children, Sarah and Stephen, which changed me completely again. You know, because once you become a parent, there is no worrying about you anymore. It's all about worrying about them. Right. And it's all about how you're going to give them the life that they deserve. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it humbles you.
And just to kind of go back to that dispensation of time, because that's before, your music career, that's before Twang and Round, that's before all of that. And that was really the catalyst of like where your legal journey began, right? Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit about that. You mentioned your first wife, which, I know. And that was, I'm sure, a hard transition for you guys to separate. Mm-hmm. Okay. So post-separation, post-divorce, can you walk me through a little bit about what transpired in your life that made you truly feel like Tennessee is extorting me and monetizing off of me?
Absolutely. So I was young, 21, 22. And I'd never been in any big legal trouble at all. Mm-hmm. So I didn't even know how that worked. Right. So when we divorced, I just started paying her cash, for child support for my children. You know what I mean? And so she hired a lawyer, and her grandfather was a Freemason, and the district attorney at the time was a Freemason. Mm-hmm. And I was a Freemason at the time because, he inspired me, and that's how I got into that. Right. So there was connections there. Yeah, for sure. So that district attorney just had it out for me, and he was going to, there was a phone call, and I'll never forget this. He called me directly, and it was just me and him on the phone. And
the district attorney called you directly.
Called me directly.
That's wild. Okay, that's wild.
Yeah, and maybe you can enlighten me on why that shouldn't even happen like that.
Yeah, that does not happen. But go ahead.
Yeah. So anyway, he called me, and he was going down a list. He was like, "Well, you got all kinds of stuff. I see you're a musician. I'm sure there's royalties. I see you got, you've had to hand over your bank statements. I see you got money." So how much of this money are you willing to give? That's how the conversation was going. And I was appalled. Right. And then that's when I realized that I needed to get a lawyer.
Sumner County, right?
That is correct. That is correct.
County. Only in Sumner County, though. Seriously. Only in Sumner County would a district attorney call you talking about looking at your bank statements and what you should pay. Yeah. Like, what? Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. So what happened towards the end of that call?
Yeah. So anyway, toward the end of the call, he's pretty much telling me I'm screwed and that they're going to take as much as they want to take. Literally. Wow. So I hired a lawyer, and I won't shout him out on here, but he knows who he is.
We know him and love him.
That's right. We love you. And so anyway, he took my case, and he was a Nashville lawyer, still is. And he came up to Sumner County, and I'll never forget it. The first hearing when we went in, he goes up and he starts talking about the divorce decree and how messed up it is and how it's because it was all orchestrated. Like on the divorce decree, they put me having no time with my kids.
No time.
None.
What?
None. So he's trying to tell the judge this, right? And she stops him and starts giving him up the road. It was like a movie. I couldn't believe it was even playing out like that.
Do you remember who the judge was?
It was a woman.
Okay.
I'd have to go back and look. I don't remember her name. But this went on through the next two hearings to the point to where my lawyer called me and said, I can't do it. Like, I don't understand. I've never even encountered anything like this.
Let me tell you what so many of my clients who have been jammed up in Sumner County, whether it be through family court or, through a criminal case or whatever, call me and say, I cannot find an attorney from Nashville or anywhere else for that matter that will even come up here and practice. Like, that's how up it is. Attorneys from anywhere in surrounding counties do not want to go there and practice. It is wild. And honestly, like I had heard like horror stories about how messed up it was and how corrupt their system is and all those things. It wasn't until like young Buck went through that whole system, which you were there with me going through the whole process. My dear friend, young Buck went through this system, right, with Sumner County. And when I tell you, so many attorneys started coming out of the woodwork when we were bringing awareness to his case and doing the protest and all of the things. And they were like, Brooke, I am so glad that you all are raising awareness to what goes on there. We as defense attorneys won't even go there and practice law because it's like they don't even work under the scope of the law. They do whatever the hell they want to do. No one is regulating them. There's no oversight committees. It's the Wild Wild West. It's insanity. So I'm not surprised by what you're saying to me right now, but that is so outrageous on so many levels that a judge would bark at an attorney for telling her this ridiculous information that you just shared with me. Like, this is what, 0 time with your children, but wants you to pay an abundance of money.
Yep. And I'll tell you what, it was so, it's at that part is etched into my brain. How she shut him down. And he was explaining to her in detail about the decree. And she didn't want to hear it. It was like, he's going to pay. And there's nothing more to talk about. And the more you try to push back on that, the worse it's going to get for him.
Wow.
So my lawyer was like, I'm at a loss, man. I can't really represent you the right way because it's all rigged.
Yeah.
They already know what they're going to do.
Right.
So how's that? How many other people did they do that to?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I love about you, Brooke, is your mission, and you've inspired me, and I think that's why God brought us back together here now.
Absolutely, yeah.
Is your mission. You've inspired me even to come on here and talk about it. I've never talked about it. I just pay the bill. Right. My kids are 23 and 21, and I still pay the bill on them, and I'm paying her child support on a 21-year-old that lives with me right now.
Like, absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And I told you that we need to go back and have this reevaluated, and we will.
Yes.
Like, this is insane. Like, this makes absolutely no sense at all whatsoever. Absolutely no sense. I remember telling you about what I was dealing with, with Buck's case and several others in Sumner County. And that's when you kind of opened up to me about, your case and your situation and what's going on. And I do think that, like, people just, if they haven't been through it, they don't understand it. Yeah. You know what I mean? If they have not dealt with systematic issues, they do not understand them. And I know that you and I have talked about this when I was like, you know what? We have to raise awareness. Like, we have to have these conversations so people know what really is going on behind those curtains, right?
Yes.
Like, we have to pull back the curtains and show what the real is front and center on that stage. And we have to demand change. We have to cultivate change. We have to be a part of that change, right? And pass laws. And I think one of the biggest things that we can do is demand oversight committees for these judges.
Yes.
And I say this all the time. There's good judges and there's up judges.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
There's good judges and there's bad judges. And there's so many things that people have filed complaints on, like this very situation that you're talking about. Nothing gets done about it. Nothing is ever done about it. Why? Because there's no oversight. There's who's looking at the complaints that are coming in. They're not public information, right? Who is reprimanding these judges?
Yeah.
They do whatever the hell they want to do. They do whatever the hell they want to do. Here is where it gets in the gray area, though, because a lot of times these judges think that they don't have to go by the law, right? They don't have to work under the scope of the law, and that they're immune. They have what's called judicial immunity. So you can't sue them. They're like, what are they going to do about it? They can't sue me. But here's the real. The real is this. When they stop working under the scope of the law, they open themselves up to be sued. A lot of people don't know that.
Okay.
But I've really gone down the rabbit hole of research for that. So, yeah, if they are not working under the scope of the law, they don't have judicial immunity. That goes away. So we need to start, we as a society, we need to start holding them accountable in that way.
Facts.
Period.
Facts.
And what they have done to you is insane. So tell me a little bit about how that's impacted your life, you know, from a monetary standpoint and even in your career. Like, I'm sure, you know, there's a lot of things that have created blocks even in your career.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So, and I'll just start running down some things here. So one of the saddest things is my oldest son, Steven, was like, Dad, take me fishing. And I had to find private places to go fishing because I can't even have a fishing license here in Tennessee to take my kids fishing.
Serious?
Yeah, they took my driver's license for almost 2 years, and I had to navigate around that. They took my passport, so I was touring, and could have made 3 times the money on tour by going into Canada.
Right.
And at the time, I couldn't go into Canada. So it's astronomical how much they've roadblocked me from being able. And that's so backwards. You know, why would you do that to a father that is present in their children's life? Why you're not helping the children. Okay? You're not helping the children by cutting that father off and putting all these roadblocks in front of him. You're hurting the children.
Absolutely.
And you're allowing the other party, my ex-wife, because she revels in it. Like, I wish you could have heard the phone calls I would get from her. Oh, I got you. I'm so happy. Hey, we just got a new Armada. Hey, would send me pictures of her nice vehicles and house, and thank you. No, it wasn't a thank you. It was a F you, you know, but that's what did, and there's so many.
That is actually like the first time that I've ever even heard that. Like, that is absolute. I'm just still processing that. Like, that is insane because that is not like the person that I knew and loved. You know what I mean? Like, that, I just am like dumbfounded to think that that it's unfathomable to me to think that she would even do that for one. Like, that is insane. I'm so sorry that you had to go through that. The next part of that is people say family court destroys families. They destroy relationships with children. It destroys people's lives and livelihood. Would you agree with that statement?
100%.
Okay.
And I'll go even further with that. Going back to her, look, this is how good of a person I am. She was a good mother to the children, except for giving them a narrative about me.
Right.
And that backfired as they got older because kids start to understand what's really going on.
Yeah.
They become adults too eventually.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm super blessed because they know the truth now.
Yeah.
You know, and going back to that is there's also this shift of power that goes on. You know, they take it away, and people like me who are survivors, I wasn't going to let that destroy my relationship with my kids.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So I just paid the bill.
Yeah.
I paid the bill. I showed up. I got my time as much as I could get because I got the leftovers.
Right.
I couldn't even dictate when I never had my kids on Christmas Day.
Oh my.
I never had my kids on Thanksgiving. I'd have to have my Christmases and Thanksgivings separate at another time. Didn't make them any less special.
Right.
But I didn't have the choice. My you know, all of that was taken away.
That is
testified on my behalf.
Your children to court to testify on your behalf.
Facts.
Oh my God.
They didn't even want to hear them.
Really?
Yep. I think it's deeper. That's a fact, but I think it's even deeper than that. I think it's they know any person that's in the legal business on that side that looks at my case knows it's messed up.
Yeah.
There's no way you can look at it and think that's normal or that's right.
Yeah.
Even, you know, I could understand it if I was a deadbeat, but no, I'm definitely not that, and my children will tell you so.
I just, you know, it's so crazy to me the way that it's set up. You know, it's almost like designed to see fathers fail. You know, I've had so many people, even my own clients, who are like, how the hell do I go to work if I can't drive? How do I come to all these court dates if I can't drive? They're taking my driver's license, you know. And these are fathers that are active in their children's lives, and they're paying their child support. Like, they're paying their child support. And it's just like, you know, I think what people don't understand is when you go to court and these proceedings go on, when they start setting child support, you're already in the rearage. You're already set up to fail. So then you have what's called back child support.
Yep.
So it's just a constant catch-up game.
Yep.
And then boom, they take your license, they take your passport, they take your ability to do even leisurely things like you mentioned, fishing with your children. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the family court system is in dire need of reform.
Oh, yes, please.
It definitely is. And I say this all the time. If it doesn't happen to you, it doesn't affect you. But when it does, that's when you want to see it change, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I think the key is getting together this community of people that it has affected and say, hey, we don't want change. It's not about we just want change. We're demanding change.
Yeah.
And this is what we're going to do to make sure that it happens, period.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, in your case specifically, and we've spoken about this before, we need to get another attorney involved now that can go back and review these facts of your case and hold them accountable, period.
Yes.
They need to be held accountable for that.
Yeah.
And we need to remodify your situation in your favor. And I feel very good about that. I feel like we are definitely going to make some phone calls, maybe even as soon as tomorrow, and make that happen. So I'm gonna put you on the hot seat there.
Let's
and
go.
I'll teach you that.
Let's go.
Because I think, like, a lot of times we've talked about, like, why, like, you don't need to let them get away with this. And you're just like, it's just, God, it's just sometimes cheaper, right, to just keep paying the bill. So people get in this cycle of just, oh, well, God, I'd have to take off work. I'd have to hire an attorney. I'd have to go back to court. It's cheaper just to continue to pay the bill. And I think that's why people continue to stay in this vicious cycle of the system.
Yeah, I mean, it's very reminiscent of the medical system. Mm-hmm. You know, you need it. Mm-hmm. You're not going to, if you love your children, they've got you.
Yeah.
They know you're going to do whatever it takes because you love your children.
Right.
And they prey on that, you know, and I'll even give you a little bit more. So when they first did it back then, all of that, whatever number they come up with would go into an account and it would gain interest. Mm-hmm. So see, they've even changed it since back then.
Oh yeah.
They can't do that anymore.
Right.
So see, I'm still being held to a tape that was shown it was wrong.
Right.
Just with that part.
Yeah.
So because it was all phallus, you know, it wasn't real.
Right.
You know, it was made up on somebody's hearsay, not factual evidence.
Yeah.
You know, so they know that if a father loves their children, they're going to do whatever.
Yeah.
You know, and then there's another thing I want to say is not everybody was as blessed as me. Right. Not every man has the financial, abilities that I had and have now. And I've been very blessed, and a lot of fathers do give up, and not just give up, but they'll unalive themselves. Yeah, you know what I mean? 100%. Just to get out of it, and that's sad.
That is really sad.
That's a real thing going on in America today. There's a lot of fathers out here that feel like they're at the end of the rope. Yeah, and there's no other way out. Yeah, no other way out.
And in the criminal system as well. I mean, I've had multiple people of my clients who, some of them were like my own grown children, that unalive themselves. It's just the pressure. Like, it's just too much. It's too much. I know that you and I have spoken about this extensively, but I want to reiterate that I started a program, a foundation called Proverbs Innocence. And I am so inspired by people like you and many others who are real victims of the systems, and now survivors. You're a survivor now, right? But I think that, like, there's so many people that just get lost in the sauce of the system, and they don't have the means, and they don't have the know-how, and they don't know what to do in your situation and in criminal court, as well. But people that are victims of their system, truly innocent people who are fighting for their freedom behind jail walls, right? Or even if they are lucky enough to be out on bond, they are fighting for their freedom, and a lot of them do not have the means to go hire attorneys, right? And they don't have the means to go hire private investigators or forensic experts or whatever the case may be, even down to family court in your situation, where it's just like, it just stuck in the cycle, not knowing what to do, not knowing what to do. What I do with my Proverbs Innocence program is offer resources to be able to have individuals to have a guide, like a go-to guide of what do we do? Well, this is what you do. This attorney is going to help you, right? And if you can't afford an attorney, we're going to hook you up with attorneys, and we're going to have that fund go to pay for that for you. And you don't even have to worry about that bill, right? Because you can't, if you can't afford it, right? Then we're going to have a private investigator. It doesn't matter if you can't afford it, right? Like all of those things to be able to help people climb out of this hole of victimhood of the system and stop that cycle of oppression. The number one thing that they do is prey on people that they feel like they can keep oppressed, either because they don't know any better or they don't have the means to get out of it, period. So I'm really excited about this program, and I'm really excited for you and I to work together, on this program and this mission that we're really working towards to help people get out of this cycle of oppression in the system. I'm really excited about that. And I feel like, and we've talked about that a lot, like so many full circle moments, right? And so many things where we're like, if these things did not happen to us or people that we know and love, we would not be here having these conversations right now.
Facts.
And we would not be advocating for these people. We would not be on the front lines advocating for these people.
Facts.
So I think that's, that's where we are today, and I'm excited about that mission. So also, let's talk about you and your personal journey and your personal health, and transformation. I know that you do a lot of things like myself, natural healing,
yes.
And you're really into that, and all of the, things health related. Tell me a little bit about what was the catalyst of you transitioning more into consciously taking care of your health on the next level?
Yeah. So you when you grow up in the environment I grew up in, and it kind of bleeds over into from your adolescence into adulthood, and it's for me, alcohol was a big thing, because I also sold heavy equipment for John Deere. I started out as inside sales and worked myself up to regional vice president of sales for the Midwest region. And then I was in acquisitions at the end. And part of my job was to take customers out, clients out. And, we play golf and have drinks. And, so alcohol is one of the biggest catalyst to an unhealthy lifestyle if you abuse it,
Yeah.
And everything in moderation, is the best approach. So for me, I got up to 325 pounds on the road.
Wow.
And there's pictures out there. You can go find them.
Yeah.
And over a period of 2 years, I was on social media, and I had to give up alcohol, and I was on social media, and I found this guy, Gary Brecka. And he's a human biologist. And I really started following that path with him. And he was a guy, he actually was a mortality expert for insurance companies.
Oh, wow.
And he would actually calculate when you were going to die.
Oh, my God.
And he would do that for insurance companies, yeah. And he's a human biologist. So he didn't want to do that anymore. So he went on and became a health expert, and he started telling people how they could change their lives. So I started following that, and that was a big change for me. So I learned about intermittent fasting, and I was sick. Listen, I was on lisinopril for high blood pressure. I was on metformin for diabetes. I was on Zoloft, antidepressants. And they were just pumping more and more and more. And then they were like, well, let's give you beta blockers and all this stuff. It was never, when I would go to a general practice physician, it was never any talk about like natural remedies or exercise or intermittent fasting. They'd say, well, you're fat, but and you're out of shape.
God.
But here's some pills, So I had to break free of all that. And the intermittent fasting, the exercise, supplementation, because everybody's body is deficient of something, and that's really the true catalyst to all disease.
Yeah.
Because and we could go down a rabbit hole of that, but I'll just give you the short part of it. So our food since the 1920s has been bioengineered. So back in the early 1900s and 1800s, you could eat food and get magnesium and all of this stuff that your body needs. So at some point the business people decided, hey, we can make money on that. Let's take all that stuff that makes you healthy. Let's take that out of it.
Yeah.
And we'll just force feed everybody the food, but they're not really getting any nutrients from it.
It's all genetically.
It's all, absolutely. And you've seen the pictures. Well, what a banana used to look like, what it looks like now, And so I was enlightened by that, and I took my journey on that. So, I intermittent fast, and over a period of 2 years, I lost over 100 pounds. I got down to 215. Wow. I'm 242 as of this morning.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and I maintain it. And you have to, and it's consistency.
Yeah,
you have to your habits. You have to have the discipline enough about yourself. And my children were the reason for that. My children
wanted to live longer.
Yeah, and my youngest, my 4-year-old Whitley. I didn't want to be the fat, out of shape dad.
Right.
I wanted to be. When I showed up. At school events and stuff like that, I wanted him to be proud of me. Plus, I want to be able to chase him around.
Yeah.
I want to be able to. So I do workouts with him.
Yeah.
I bought him a gator, and on our property, we have a long road you can walk, and I just put him in the gator and go out there and do 2 miles.
Yeah.
And it's just him and I bonding.
Yeah.
And now he's gotten old enough to where he wants to run with me.
Right. Right.
So I'm trying to pass that health thing on to him.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So I know that you have not really talked about this publicly, and it's okay if you don't want to talk about it today, but I know that you shared with me your cancer journey.
Yeah.
Would you like to speak on that a little bit?
Absolutely, for you. Absolutely. So I haven't talked about it publicly, and a lot of it goes back to my dad, okay? And that's kind of where this story kind of begins for me, is my dad was diagnosed with cancer. And he beat it. And he beat it naturally. He was on treatments, and he was dying. They gave him 6 months to live, and he got off the treatments, went natural, and got healthy, went into remission, and beat it. And then died in a car wreck 6 years after they told him he's only going to live 6 months.
Wow.
So that was another catalyst to the whole health journey too. And so I was I had a place on my face that came up right here, and it was just a bump, and I thought it was like an ingrown hair or something, And I'm hard headed. I'm that guy. I'm not going to the hospital.
Right.
If I ain't got a bone sticking out, I don't need to go nowhere. And even then, I might be able to put a splint on this. Right. I don't know. So I didn't, and it wouldn't go away. So it was God. Okay. Yeah. My wife now, her sister, was working at the skin cancer place, and she said, "You should come in. They're great. You should have them look at that." And I said, "All right, make an appointment."
Right.
So I go in there, and I'm still thinking it's going to be nothing. They're going to say, "Man, this is just a bad ingrown hair, and we're going to fix it today." That's what was in my head.
Yeah, sure.
So I go in there and sit down, and he's like, "No, we're going to go ahead and biopsy it." So they cut a big chunk out of it. And then I had to take a business trip to New York. So I leave and fly to New York. And when I get to the hotel in New York and walk in and put my bags down, my phone rang, and it was the doctor. Mm. He said, "Mr. Roach, it's carcinoma. You have carcinoma cancer." And he said, "We need to get you back here. And we need to go through the Mohs procedure, and we need to try to get it out." And then, of course, they sent me all that stuff. And when you start reading that stuff, it's just like,
oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
It's like going on WebMD. Yeah.
Facts. Oh man, yeah. So
oh my God, I'm dying tomorrow.
Yeah, this is over with. I need to start making arrangements. Right. I need to look at my life insurance and everything. This is, and that's real. That's really the thoughts.
It really is. It is.
I come back, and we go through the Mohs procedure, and I'm going to walk you through that. And I have pictures too, and I'll send you. And they're graphic. So the Mohs procedure works like this. They go in and they cut as much as they can cut out, and then they cauterize the area, and then they test it. And if there's cancer still there, guess what? We do the same thing over and over again.
Oh, wow.
Until you get it all.
Okay.
And and here's the thing. They did the first cut. They cauterized. He leaves. He comes back about 30 minutes later and says, unfortunately, there's some still there. We're going to have to do it again. So they cut again, cauterized, left, came back. Said, Mr. Roach, we got it all. We got every bit of it. So I was left with close to $50 all the way almost to the bone right here in my face.
Wow. And
he told me, he said, man, I don't think your beard's going to grow back.
Oh my God.
So almost 3 months later, I was sitting in front of him with a full beard again. And he's like, we're going to have to document this. So they put it in a medical journal. They had people in there taking pictures of my face. And so I'm in a medical journal somewhere. Yeah, like he his hair grew back. So no, I just give it. And here's the part of it I want to add is the closer I got to the procedure, the more peace I had. The worry that I had in the beginning went away. And it started pushing me closer and closer to God and realizing that I can't use God as a spare tire.
Right.
That I need to have a relationship with Him.
Absolutely.
And not just always call on Him when I'm in need, but be, faithful.
Yeah.
And one of the things that sticks with me through the whole thing is the doctor said, Mr. Roach, he said, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but we've connected and I know you're a good man. He said, your procedure was the smallest one today.
Yeah. Wow.
And I was like, wow. There are people, you think you got it rough, but someone's always got it worse.
Yeah.
Count your blessings.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Always.
100%. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what was your thought process and, what do you feel like changed for you post cancer?
Yeah. So just my relationship with God.
Okay.
And
that was really the catalyst.
It really was. It really was. And protecting my peace and putting on the armor of God every day and walking with it and understanding that there's forces that aren't in our control.
Right.
That's the part of it. You have to surrender that part. You have to understand that it's not you.
Right.
It's God.
Yeah.
And it's not your time.
Absolutely.
It's God's time.
God's time. Yeah.
And that drove that home.
I say that all the time.
Yes.
Yeah. Is it like, you have this plan and then it doesn't work out the way that you think it's going to, but then God comes in with His plan and it's so much better than yours,
Yes.
For me, I feel like my mom, you know this, but I don't really talk about it a whole lot, but my mom passed away at 41. She had cancer. And had I known then what I know now about the medical industry and about chemo and radiation and all of the things that she went through that just made her more sick and pumped more poison into her body and all of those things. But I was so young, you know what I mean? I was so young back then. I didn't understand the things that I know now about natural healing and alternatives and, that there really are cures for cancer and all of those things. Like, we would have done things a lot different. But my mom passed away, as you know, at 41. My father passed away a few years after that. And then I took another huge loss in 2017. And for me, that was really the catalyst of my spiritual journey. That was truly like the darkest night of my soul. Like, I just remember laying in the bed, not even knowing or caring if I could get up the next day, right? I just knew I had to be in survival mode because my children were little. I had a business to run. I had to keep going. And I just remember like saying to God, and this was like a God that I had a fear of because that's what I was culturally conditioned to believe, this wrath of, fire and hell and brimstone and fear. And I remember just like praying to God and saying, I do not know how I'm going to get through this, but like, if you will just get me through this, I am going to completely surrender to you and I'll just be your vehicle. Where would you have me go? What do you want me to do? Who can I help? Whatever that is. And I feel like I remember being in that moment, feeling like this presence of love, Like, just so much. As much as I was going through, like, literally the darkest night of my soul, just, like, feeling, like, this, like, presence of love around me that I had
Yes.
never felt like that before,
Yes.
you know? And I knew that was, in that very moment, I knew that my life was forever going to be different. And it was, you know, it was. And I feel like through that whole dispensation of time, not only was I healing, but I was helping other people heal too. You
Yeah.
know, like, I was really helping other people. And I feel like it's like that saying, when you feel helpless, help other people. And that was my focus, like, just helping other people, helping other people, helping other people. And so many things, like, came to me, that so many people that needed my help came to me and were getting railroaded by the system and were going through the darkest nights of their soul too, you know? And through that, I feel like, oh my God, like, this is my purpose. Now I understand. Now I understand why my mom is on the other side. My dad is on the other side. My late husband is on the other side. My family members on the other side. My clients who I love are on the other side. My friends are on the other side, you know, and I'm here. I'm here to focus on this mission and walk in my purpose and be a true service of God, you know? And I think that, like, we go through life altering things and traumatic things to get to that point of really, like, understanding we have a purpose far greater than our own, you know, and we have God's plan that's far greater than our own. And I think even now, like, this full circle moment of you and I,
Yes.
you know, working together and collaborating together, I mean, that is God's plan. That is a God's plan.
Amen.
Yeah.
That, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And God bless you. I mean, you know,
Thank you.
yeah, and I love you to death.
I love you too.
And you're so inspirational, and that motivates me to so many levels where you're helping me, you know,
Yeah.
and your mission and your purpose is going to be a ministry that's going to help the world. I mean, it's going to make a change, and God, all of that stuff He put us both through has prepared you
Yeah.
to be the leader you are and to walk in your purpose the way you are.
Absolutely.
Your testimony is so riveting. It's beautiful, you know, and
Thank you.
yeah, to see you as strong and successful as you are, and not letting the world overcome you.
Right.
You're overcoming the world.
Yeah.
And that's just it's a beautiful thing, and I'm proud to be a part of it, and I'm thankful and grateful to be a part of it. And to all the fathers out there, don't give up.
Yeah.
Mothers too, don't give up. You know,
Yeah.
it's just have faith and keep pushing
Absolutely.
forward.
If you had one piece of advice for your younger self or someone going through what you have been through as a young father with the system, what would you say?
Seek legal counsel. Educate yourself on it, you know, because I was ignorant of it. So I was victimized because I don't understand it.
Right.
I do now.
Right.
And I've learned the lesson the hard way. If you're in that situation, you have rights. And you can, you know, the one thing is be a part of your children's life. No matter what the obstacles are, don't even look at those.
Yeah.
Go through them, you know, and do it, you know, with God's power, you know, and that's easier said than done.
Right.
But that's the advice I would give.
So let us know, where can we find you?
Yeah, twangandround.net.
Okay.
And just Google Kuntry Twang or Twang and Round. And we're on all the streaming platforms across the board. So just pop it in the old phone and
Okay.
you'll find me.
And I know that your fans are going to be all up in my comment section talking about where's Round. So we're going to have to hit Round up
Yes.
to come back in here with us.
Yeah, I can't wait for that one.
Oh my, me too. He
Yeah.
is. Oh, he will be. he
Oh, my
will
gosh.
be live and live in
Yes,
color up in
yes.
here.
You know, I love him.
Oh, gosh.
I've been friends with him for the same amount of time, you know,
Yeah.
and he's one of my best friends in the whole wide world.
He's amazing. Yeah. He's so amazing. I remember telling him how he reminds me so much of my little brother, like their personalities and just like, woo, on 10 all the time. So much energy.
Yes.
Love him so much. And I'm
Yeah.
excited about, you all being back in here with me now.
Yeah.
Have you been misunderstood, mistreated, or misrepresented by the court of law, the court of public opinion, or the media? This platform is for you, and I would love to share your story.